it should be illegal. I know it's unlawful, right? Um, but let's get back 11:33. I cannot. 11:33 on the clock. Can you guys? Okay, I gotta put it at an angle. 11:33. There we go. I don't know what. It's like my phone is so bright, but it's not really that bright. Okay, that is. Didn't I just put that in the on my community board? I just put that in my community board about 11 being the master teacher and 33 being what I say? Master master teacher teaching mastery. Okay, so getting back to this, let me.
Bumping you in a store, cutting you off, hoping you'll camera. Sometimes it's a single person. Sometimes it's really gets in your space, blocking a doorway, bumping you in a store, cutting you off, hoping you'll react visibly, ideally in front of witnesses or a camera. Sometimes it's a single person. Sometimes it's more than one. Positioned so that no matter which way you move, someone is already there. The second is scripted harassment. If you're looking for 25 to 150
Oh my goodness.
which way you move, someone is already there. The second is
Oh my goodness. Hold on. Let me turn it all the way up.
repetitively, oddly timed, choreographed, feeling interactions designed to unsettle you into responding in a way that looks irrational to anyone watching from the outside. This is the strange comment from a stranger, the odd laugh, the person who seems to appear at the same time every day, small enough to dismiss individually, but consistent enough to wear on you. The third is verbal or digital baiting. Comments, DMs, or calls crafted to get you to say something angry, threatening sounding, or incriminating, something in writing or on record. This one is patient. It might take several messages before the bait actually lands, because the goal is one usable screenshot, not a whole conversation. And the fourth is vehicle-based provocation, brake checking, tailgating, blocking you in, sitting at a green light, designed to bait a road rage reaction that can then be reported. This is one of the most dangerous forms because it happens at speed, and speed removes your time to think. 4 different tactics, one goal: get you on record reacting. And here's the thing to understand about all 4. They rarely show up labeled. Nobody announces they're baiting you. It just looks like a bad day, a rude stranger, an aggressive driver. That's exactly what makes it effective, and exactly why the next few minutes of this video matter. Now here's the part most people miss: understanding the objective behind it. Because once you see the objective, the tactic stops working on you. The goal isn't the confrontation itself. The confrontation is just the delivery mechanism. The real goal is what happens after. It's about discrediting you. If they can get you to raise your voice, push back, or lose your composure in public, that becomes a story, not the provocation that led to it. Nobody watched the aftermath, seeing the 10 minutes of setup. They only see the 10 seconds of your reaction. It's about building a paper trail against you: a 911 call, a police report, a witness statement, something official with your name on it. that reframes you as the problem instead of the person something is being done to. It's about isolating you. Every time you react and it goes badly, the people around you, co-workers, neighbors, even family, quietly start to believe the narrative that you're the unstable one. That isolation is the point, because the more isolated you are, the fewer people are around to corroborate what actually happened to you. And sometimes it's simply about generating content, footage of you reacting, posted or shared to reinforce a narrative that was already being built before the day even started. Different tactics, same objective every time. Get a reaction, then use the reaction. Once you understand the reaction is the actual target, not you personally, but your reaction, everything on how you carry yourself in public starts to change. This is also why patience matters more than people expect. A setup that doesn't give a reaction the first time often gets attempted again in a slightly different form. The goal from your side isn't winning one encounter. It's consistently declining to give them what they are after every time until it stops being worth attempting. So how do you actually catch this while it's happening before you're already reacting? Look for repetition. A one-off rude stranger is just life, but the same type of encounter showing up again and again in different locations with different people following the same basic pattern, that's not coincidence. That's a pattern. Look for timing that feels choreographed. Real random encounters don't usually have perfect timing. If something happens the moment you step outside, or the moment you're alone, or the moment you're already stressed from something else that day, pay attention to that timing. Coincidence doesn't usually know your schedule. Look for a camera or phone that's already out before anything happens. In a genuine random encounter, nobody's filming yet. If the phone comes out before the incident starts, that tells you the incident was expected, not spontaneous. And look for dialogue that feels scripted. Lines that seem rehearsed or oddly specific or repeated almost word for word by different people in different encounters, sometimes weeks apart. When two strangers who have never met use the same unusual phrase, that's not a coincidence worth ignoring. Also pay attention to your own body before you pay attention to theirs. A spike of adrenaline, a tightening in your chest, a flash of anger that feels bigger than the trigger deserves. That physical reaction is information. It's often your first and fastest warning sign, faster than your conscious mind catching the pattern.
Now, when sometimes when you're getting these emotions or feelings or spikes in adrenaline or various different, you know, um, feelings in your body, they could also be utilizing directed energy weapons. They could have done spell work prior to, and everything is, very strategic. That's why I was saying, even in, oh, excuse me, even with the spell work, the spell work is in layers, right? They have to do things in a very particular order, right? And with that, they're coming in to do um, lay the foundation, drop seeds. They want to, project subliminals with maybe people in your vicinity that have certain bags or T-shirts or um, you know, things that are within your environment that are supposed to trigger your subconscious mind that you might not consciously be aware of or paying attention to, that can affect you still in dropping those seeds. Okay. People having alleged phone conversations talking about things that you've discussed in private conversations where nobody was allegedly there, right? Uh, or speaking about things that are very specific to you, but they're allegedly on the phone, or they're talking to somebody in real life, having a conversation that's all staged and scripted, okay? But they're using particular words and key things that they know that you have said, and they're attempting to say them. So I'm just saying there's a lot of things that go into this. He is talking about, you know, the street theater. He's talking about being provoked, right? What do they call that in government? Is it patsy? Put in the comments, because there is a term for an aggravator very much like this as well, but in a more political sense. Oh God, I want to say Patsy, but 11:11 on the timestamp when I just looked. But I want to say that it's actually something else. Provocateur. Okay. So the Patsy is the fake. The Patsy is, you know, somebody that's coming in like an actor, if I'm not mistaken. But the provocateur is the actual individual that's coming in to cause some shit to happen. Provoke is the root word in provocateur. Okay, they come in to provoke. So just like this type of entrapment that he's talking about, it's not, they're calling it a form of entrapment, but they have the definition, and they're using the definition for reactive abuse. Reactive abuse is when you are being abused in some type of way, and they attempt to utilize the reaction as a way to get people to believe either a narrative, like he stated, that has already been, you know, created before this incident. They got people there ready to record. They have, you know, all these, you know, different things that are pre-planned, okay? So that they can get the false evidence, right, of whatever it is, okay? So that had happened to me a lot of times, this reactive abuse. But when you, like he stated, know that the reaction is what they are after, then you don't give them what they want. You don't give them the reaction that you want, that they want, and you go about handling things in a very different manner. And I've had to do that, and I have done that. And the way that I have handled these situations has been very shocking to some of these individuals, okay? Because they were not expecting how I did react, which was nowhere in the realms of what they were attempting to get, okay? Nothing, not the outburst that they wanted, the fight or whatever. Very diplomatically, professionally, assertively executed, okay? And to the point that the individuals that were the abusers got their ass in trouble, okay? In trouble that they were not expecting, because they had not expected me to react in the way that I did. Okay. That's not my problem. So you want to play stupid games, you can win stupid prizes. And the stupid prize that you, as a crash test dummy, attempted to come for somebody that knows these types of tactics, right? And has been studying y'all and the system that you guys have created. Don't be surprised, okay, when the people that have been involved with the gang stalking of me, that you get federally indicted. Okay, don't be surprised, okay, when you're in federal penitentiary because you thought that it was cool to gang stalk, harass, and commit crimes, right? A lot of these people, they're not realizing they're actually committing real crimes against people. And if they didn't commit the crimes, there are other people that committed crimes in this whole situation that is going to put them as an accessory. It is going to put them as a co-defendant. It is going to have them as uh, a conspirator. It is going to have them linked to the whole thing. Okay? So whether you did this little bullshit over here, baby, you're going to be connected to motherfuckers that did unalivings of people. Dummy. Dummy. Oh my God, I cannot with these people. So, you attempt to talk sense into people, right? Because some of these people, they do attempt to come and talk to you, some of them, not in a way of attempting to clarify like your innocence or anything like that, but coming in a form to like get information as like a spy or something, to report back to their, as a flying monkey to whoever, they're reporting back to. Okay. And it's various people in different places, right? So while they're being the flying monkey, attempting to, you know, gather information and intel, baby, I have attempted to talk sense into them. Okay. And in a very, it has been, I guess you would say, nonchalant and, you know, um, but it has been definitely a descriptive warning. And whether they take heed, you know, or not, the warning comes before destruction. And I gave these mofos just, I gave them warnings years ago. I said, God is cutting the grass and he's about to expose all these snakes. And guess what? All these motherfuckers started getting exposed. I said that way before the P. Diddy's, way before all this other stuff. I said it. I was like, y'all better get your right. I stated, God is cutting the grass and all these snakes is about to be exposed. I said, you need to basically get right now. Like, do the right thing, tell the truth. Da, da, da. I literally did a video on TikTok. Okay, it should be still there somewhere. Uh, Reposted it on a few other social media sites. Okay, and so it's just like, I said what I had to say, okay, with regards to what I was spiritually being led to say. Okay, they didn't want to do what was right. They didn't want to tell the truth, and God gave them plenty and ample amount of time to do the right thing. I know I gave them plenty ample time to do the right thing. And so it's just like they were never going to do the right thing. They were never going to tell the truth. Like they doubled down on failed attempts to unalive me. They were doubling and tripling down on that. So it's just like they chose, and so they made their bed that now they have to lie in. That's it. And I feel no type of way about it. You know, I would have hoped that they would have done something different, but that's not my business that they did it. My business was to say what was supposed to be said before the whole hit the fan. Okay? Because before they was being investigated, before any of that happened, before people went to the federal penitentiary, like judges and attorneys and motherfuckers that's been involved, like on a legal standpoint that shouldn't have been doing what they was doing. Like, baby, I feel no type of way. These people are supposed to be in positions that they are supposed to be able to be trusted. Okay? That they are acting as criminals, okay, that are actually supposed to be upholding the law so that they can then decide judgment on criminals. But that's not what they were doing. They were the criminals exercising corruption on innocent beings. The math ain't mathin', baby. The math ain't mathin'. Okay. So, hell to the nah. Hell to the nah. Hell to the nah. These niggas was out of line. Out of line. And as I said in my other video, like the old people used to say, way out of pocket. They was out of pocket and way, the elders used to say, way in left field. They was way out there in left field. Okay. So, they got to get brought back down to earth and, back to their senses, because we going to make common sense common again over here. Okay. We making common sense common again. Yeah. But anyways, I'm not going to, as they say, run it up. It was 2233 on the clock when I looked. Anyways, if you need anything else from me, you can find it in the description, like my 2 websites, NIEVE Tigre's merch, which he is like 100 subscribers. He's actually, no, 70 subscribers away from hitting his first 3,000. Baby, he's closing in the gap because I'm at 3,500 right now. So anyways, if you have friends and family, make sure you go and have them subscribe to NIEVE Tigre. Kitty baby, kitty baby. He's been in the video the whole time. I keep seeing him pop up over my shoulder. So anyways, let's see. If you would like to support this channel, you can do so by hitting up my Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, or you can buy me a coffee. If financial means do not allow for that, then you can also, for FREE, free 99, you can like, share, subscribe, share, and hype it up. Hype me up. Hype me up. I hype me up. I've been my biggest cheerleader, baby, because I would not have gotten this far in life and made all the accomplishments and did all the things that I have done, okay, if I wasn't cheering for myself, because there's been snakes in the grass and haters in the bushes, okay? So, anyways, with that being said, I'm not going to run it up. Peace.